Raj. Raj, can you brief about yourself? Shiva.
Able to hear you. Able to hear you clearly.
Your voice is breaking actually.
I can able to hear you.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Raj. Shiva, can you brief about yourself?
I'm just saying I can able to hear you clearly. That's nothing else. Yeah.
Yeah, hi. Myself, I'm Shivanaran. I'm currently pursuing masters in data science from University of North Texas, and I'm currently in my last semester. And previously, I worked as a associate data engineer in Accenture, where I worked on a data virtualization tool, which is Denodo, and we use it to build the data pipelines for the business users as per the requirement. And where I worked on the healthcare domain, and in that tenure, I also worked on the MFT, which is a manager file transfer. And currently, from this course, I'm expecting time. I want to learn more about the AWS topics and to deep dive into the data engineering concepts.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Shiva. And Nikhil. Pranay.
Yeah, hi, this is Pranay here. I had 10 years of experience in the data stage and the data warehousing projects, which I worked there. So I'm currently looking and learn into AWS and to find out a job in AWS.
Okay, got it. Yashwant.
Hi team, my name is Yashwant. I have 2 years of experience in ETL developer. Right now I'm working on a PySpark in Databricks. I want to learn more about AWS.
Okay, got it. And Anuj, can you brief about yourself? Anyone else? Anuj, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, can you brief about yourself and also your years of experience and as part of the course, what exactly you're looking for?
So actually, I have a career experience. I'm working in a social media company as a developer, and expectation of this course, I want to switch to the data engineer side and go to deep dive and some real-time project in the data engineer like pipeline-based Kafka and Airflow, and there's just some AWS too. I'm looking for that with a good
Okay.
answer.
Yeah, Aditya, we can go ahead.
Thanks, Ganesh. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining, especially on Sunday in late evening. Thanks for that. My name is Aditya. I'm having 8 years of experience mainly into data engineering and machine learning domain. I am currently working as a senior machine learning engineer in a Fortune 100 company. I have extensive experience in building data pipelines starting from batch and from real-time streaming. I have built data lakes that contains terabytes of data, and then currently I'm having exposure into machine learning where I'm building models that consume data from those data lakes and then get the predictions out of the data that business uses to take informed decision. So that's a bit about me. I'll welcome you all to the first demo session. Let me quickly share my screen. We'll talk about the basic code structure, like what data engineering is all about. And then I have two basic data pipelines demo planned. One is more around the streaming use case and one is more around the batch. We'll see those two pipelines as well in today's session. Okay. Having said that, let me quickly share my screen. I'm sharing my screen. Okay. Just confirm if you guys can see my screen, then I'll start. Anyone, if you can confirm.
Yes, your screen is
Thanks for that. Okay. So this course is all about data engineering, and to do the data engineering, we will be utilizing AWS as our cloud platform, right? So before we go deep dive into, what exactly tools and technologies we're gonna use, first of all, let's build a basic understanding of what exactly data engineering is all about, and then we'll see further in the tools and technology per se. Okay. So data engineering, it consists of two words, data plus engineering, right? So as we know, the amount of data that we produce today is very huge, right? I was reading it somewhere in Gartner reports. The amount of data that we were generating in the year 2012 in the full whole year is equals to the amount of data that we generate today in a single day itself. So you can imagine the volume of data which has increased over a period of time, right? Data is increased, and businesses, right, nowadays take data as the real gold. For them, data is the right source of information with which they can understand more how as a society is progressing, how a customer behavior is, how the buying patterns of different regions are, so that they can take informed decision and eventually make more profits. Every company, right, be it a small company, be it a big company, is in the market to earn more and more profits and in turns to more of a social work, so on and so forth. But to generate more profits, they need to make sure that the customer are coming to them and buying more their services. How do they ensure that? So to ensure that, they do targeted marketing, right? They run ads, right? They came up with products that are most likely to be purchased by customers. So how do they do that? How do they make sure, right? So to do this, to take these informed decisions, they need lot of data. They need to process lot of data, right? And back then in 2012, even beyond that, the amount of data was so small, so it is easy enough to manage it over an Excel or maybe with simple data solutions. But as the amount of data grows over a period of time, it's becoming a little challenging to manage. And that's basically makes the requirement of data engineers, right? So what data engineers are? Data engineers are folks who manage large data with efficiency. What they do, they build data pipelines, which basically pulls data from sources and then finally load it to a target where that a business person can see a dashboard or see a report and can take a informed decision by looking at those data points, by looking at those reports. So in general, data engineers, what they do, they take the data, perform all the engineering tasks on top of it, build pipelines, so on and so forth, and then finally allows the business to take more informed decision. And hence the importance of data engineer is growing over a period of time, right? You have seen that there's a high demand coming in for data engineers because the data is keep on growing. And guys, we all know the data is going to grow many folds further because the more and more technology shifts are coming in, the more and more data we are generating per day, right? That's a very basic about what exactly data engineers uh, are doing in general, right? So in this slide that I am gonna present now, it's basically talks about the same. What is data engineering, right? So here it's a bit technical. So data engineering is all about building and maintaining infrastructures for data storage, where you can process your data, where you can transform your data, so that you can take meaningful decision out of it, right? If we talk about some key responsibilities of a data engineer, it starts from very basic meaning. First of all, you have to understand your data, right? Then you have to collect your data. Understanding of data means like what is the type of data I am getting. If it's a streaming data, if it's a batch data, right? If you are having a streaming data, what kind of pipeline you have to build? If it's a batch data, what kind of pipeline you have to build? What strategies you have to apply, right? All of this is the basic responsibility of a data engineer, right? So it starts from basic data understanding, then how you're gonna collect this data, then how do you transform this data, right, to finally load it to a target. You have to build data pipelines, you have to build data lakes. So all of these are basic responsibilities of data engineer. Is it the all? No. there is more beyond that. And all of this we are going to cover in our sessions, right? We all know what is the importance of a data engineer, right? The whole world is data driven, right? All of the informative decisions that are going to take is totally based out of data, right? Whatever data pipelines we as a data engineer builds, a data scientist use that data and they generate informed reports, and those reports are getting used by business, right? So it's basically to improve the profitability of the business. They need to process large scale data and understand more out of it, right? Everything is not a very rosy story. There are a lot of challenges that data engineer faces on a day-to-day basis. What those challenges are? Those challenges are idempotency of your pipeline, right? It's a very common word that we use in mathematics. It means that if you replay your data, it should not change its shape, right? We'll again see this in detail when we move along in our sessions. Apart from that, how you build your solution so that it is able to handle data today, and it should be able to handle data after 1 year as well. Meaning, let's say today the size of my data is 1 TB, it should be handling my data. If my data size has increased to 100 TB, then my pipelines, my architecture should still be able to handle this data. And this concept is called scalability in data engineering, right? Up around that, apart from this, there are a lot of challenges on if you are having a fast moving data coming in the form of streaming, how you handle it, because the volume is and the velocity of the data is very high. Sometimes the systems that we have built as data engineer may not be able to handle it, and it may fail time to time. So how you handle large scale fast moving data, right? That we call streaming data, or in other words, you can call as real-time data processing as well. Apart from that, how you apply security on top of your data, how do you do governance on your data? All of these are basic challenges of a data engineering or data engineer per se, right? What additional things data engineer play, right? Apart from collecting data, building pipelines, so they are good data modeler as well. They do data modeling, right? They also, build automated solutions for doing the alerting mechanism within their pipelines, so monitoring their stuff, right? What all tools data engineer uses in general, right? Cloud solutions. Cloud can be AWS, cloud can be Azure, cloud can be GCP, cloud can be SAP, it can be any cloud, right? Apart from that, SQL or Python is the working languages, right? Apart from that, to handle large scale data, they uses big data technologies like Hadoop, Hive, Spark, PySpark, right? Uh, they should be good at databases. So Snowflake could be one, right? In general, SQL databases, NoSQL databases. So they should be good at these technologies. If we talk about in AWS, Redshift is one database solutions, right? They should be good at automating their data pipelines. How? With the help of Airflow, with the help of AWS Step Function. There are a bunch of tools out there that we can use to automate our data pipelines, right? So these are the basic tools set that a data engineer should be having in his skill sets, right? Moving on, we'll quickly talk about what exactly cloud is, right? So if you look, the picture which is bordered by the red color is not the cloud that we are going to talk about in our sessions, right? The cloud that we are going to talk about is in this green border, right? The cloud is nothing but just a bunch of servers that are kept away from the human reach. When I say human reach, it means they are kept very far away from normal data engineers like us, normal data scientists like other folks. We cannot just go and touch them. They are securely kept in isolated locations where our data is kept and where we can store our data for longer period of time without worry about theft, without worry about losing our data, right? So the picture that you see, that is what a cloud typically look like in general, right? Okay. uh, if I have to give you a very basic example of cloud that everyone must have used in their day-to-day life is Google Drive or Gmail, right? I'll start with Google Drive. So most of you, I am assuming, that have one day or the another has used Google Drive, right? Google Drive is a very good example of cloud where we basically uploads our files, photos, documents, so on and so forth and this data gets stored in Google server, right? And this Google server is nothing but an example of a cloud. Now, with the help of a user ID and password, right, you can access this information from anywhere in the world, right? What you need is a working internet connection, a user ID, and a correct password. If you have these three things, you can access this data from anywhere in the world, right? And that's the very basic step in cloud that we were using from last 5-10 years, right? And the cloud technology is advanced so much. It's not only about storing our data and accessing it over the internet. It's way beyond that. Now cloud we are using for data science. Now we are cloud using for data engineering, for handling large scale data, so on and so forth, right? So coming back, why this course is designed on AWS, right? We could design this course on Azure as well. You could design this course on Google Cloud, and there are a bunch of clouds out there. So why we have chosen AWS as the main cloud provider for building this course. If you look on the right hand side, there is a graph, right? So this report has been published by Statista. Statista is a very renowned uh, player in the market who basically do a lot of research. Company pays millions to do the research uh, with the help of Statista. And this report is from a Statista. And if you look here, the market share of AWS is 32%. And this report was taken from Q1 2023, and this has increased uh, when I'm speaking today. This has increased further. So the scope of AWS is more compared to all other cloud, right? If you look here, Azure scope is 23%, Google is way less than 10%, and so on. There are other clouds as well. But if you see, the major dominance in terms of cloud share is coming from AWS, and hence we thought of choosing AWS as our primary cloud solution, because when you go learn AWS, you will be most likely getting a job call that has AWS as their cloud provider in common in their job requirement, right? That's the reason we have chosen AWS as our main cloud provider for this course. Okay. Moving on, what exactly cloud computing is, right? So we have hearing this term a lot, cloud, right? We have seen an example as well, Google Drive, it an example of cloud where we can store our data. But as a data engineer or, in industries, how we are using cloud computer, right? So to understand cloud computing, I'm gonna talk about a story, right? Let's say you are planning for a trip outside India to a different country, right? Any country, right? Let's assume XYZ, any country, right? And you will be staying there for 1 month, right? And what you have in your plan is you're going to travel around that country, right? And to travel around that country, you thought of, I'm going to use a car and I'm gonna, travel that country, see all the different places, right? So there are two options. One is you go over there in that country, you buy a car over there, you pay the insurance money, you pay the license cost, you pay the road tax, so on and so forth, everything you pay, right? You use that car over there for 1 month, but there is a catch that when you are coming back from that country, you cannot take the car back with you. You have to let the car over there only, and you cannot do anything with that. You cannot sell it further, right? You cannot sell it further. You have to let it there only, right? That is option number one. Option number two is you go over there, you went to a company who rent a car, right? So as a customer, you need not to pay any tax, you need not to pay any insurance money, so on and so forth. Everything will be taken care of by renting company. What they are saying is, you know, it depends upon how many hours you are using the car. You have to pay for that time only. That's the option number two, right? So as a tourist, right, which option would you like to prefer more? Option number one is go over there, buy a car for 1 month only, and then let it over there. Option number two is go over there, rent a car, use it, and then come back. Right. So, guys, in your opinion, which option is a better option?
The second one.
Okay, absolutely right. So as a tourist, I need not to take any headache of, paying insurance, so on. Like lot of complexities over there, right? Whenever you buy a new vehicle. So I'm gonna just go rent a car and then use it, right? So same thing happens with industries, right? So to understand this, we have to take a step back, right? Back in 2000, even beyond that, right? When industry started, they started their businesses, right? And then there's an evolution of computer in 1980, right? So the computer started evolving in 1980, and since then companies or industries starting using computers for quickly processing their work, right? Over a period of time, the efficiency of computer increases, right? The amount of data increases, right? So what happens? Companies has to maintain their own servers or own databases where they are storing all the information, right? Let's talk about a company, a retail company who has more than 100 stores across the world, and every day they got a lot of sales and purchase information, right? So they're getting this information every day, right? So what they are doing, they are maintaining their own servers, they are maintaining their own databases. So all of this information is getting stored in their own servers and in their own database, right? So if I show you this image back, if you look here, these are the kind of servers that the companies are maintaining. The companies were maintaining back in 2006, 2007. So there are a lot of complexities while maintaining these servers. What these complexities are, first is security. You have to keep these servers in a highly secure environment. Why? Because if the company data get leaked, right? Imagine you are a bank, you are having all the customer information. Imagine this data got leaked. So how much trouble it gonna cost to the bank, right? It gonna hit the trust of the bank altogether. It will create a mayhem in the customers who are depending on that bank, right? Imagine if there is a simple slight breach of information happen in that bank, what will happen to the reputation of that bank, right? So they have to maintain security around that databases, around those servers. Second thing is these servers got heat up very quickly. So you have to maintain cooling, right? You have to maintain ACs, right? Third thing is there's an age of these servers, 1 or 2 years, right? Because these are nothing but a bunch of hard disk, RAM, or computers. So you have to keep on replacing them. There is a lot of money involved. Last, and which is the most important thing, manpower. You need a lot of manpower to manage these servers, right? So I don't know if you guys have seen in the past 5, 6, 10 years, but whenever a database upgrade needs to happen, it will take 5 or 6 months. The whole team of 10, 12 people have to work, perform the upgrades, make sure everything is fine, right? Lot of steps involved. So a lot of manpower required in order to manage these servers, right? That is the basic um, uh, operations challenges that we have. Second challenge is, right, let's say your data is growing over a period of time. So you need to buy a lot of new servers, right? And these servers are not very cheap. They're very, very costly. Let's say the company is going to perform a project for 6 months and they're not sure whether they're going to pursue that project further or not, right? But to perform that project, they need very high compute intensive servers that needs GPU, that needs CPU. For that, they need, 100 terabytes of GPU, CPU, that sort. So they have to buy these servers. They are very, very expensive. They bought these servers, they bring it home. They worked on that project. They realize that this project is not going to go, work well. They scrap that project. So what they're going to do with these servers? Because if they go again and sell them off, right, second-hand things, generally don't get the same amount of money that you have paid for when you buy it for the first time, right? So you're not getting a value out of buying these servers if you have a small and quick requirements, right? Right. And then you have to set them up, perform the installation, right? Lot of n number of moving and operations things involved, right? That derails your project, that required human power, lot of money involved, right? So these problems were faced by industry over a period of time. And that's when AWS realized that this is a real problems that companies are facing. And we have to give some solution. And they came up with the solution that, hey, whatever big calculation you have to perform or how much data you want to store, you need not to buy a single server. Hey, come to us. We have a, bunch of servers. Use our servers. The only catch is that if you want to use for 1 year, pay for 1 year. If you want to use for 1 minute, pay for 1 minute. If you want to use for 1 month, pay for 1 month. We are not gonna charge you any single second extra. The amount you're gonna use for, just pay for that money. And company when realize that, or industry when realize that there's a solution of that sort, they quickly started jumping to this cloud wagon. And since then, AWS never looked back. They originated back in 2006, 2007 with one of their service called S3. And since then, they have, massively grown. At that time, only one service was there. But today they have 500 plus services out there and industries are using it, right? So that's how the cloud journey evolved. And that's how the cloud computing is, right? In simple words, if you want to store your data, you can store it over the cloud. You need not to manage anything. Cloud will manage. If you want to perform heavy calculations, heavy calculation means data processing. It means running machine learning models. So you need not to manage anything. You go over there, use their services, and pay for that service only, right? Everything AWS or any cloud will take care of. That is a very basic about cloud computing, right? We have cloud computing explained in details in our upcoming sessions, right? Considering the scarcity of our time, I'm going to quickly jump to the topics that this course entails, right? So this course will entail SQL and Python, right? We will be discussing about all the major AWS services that as a data engineer we have to work with, right? We are going to work on big data technologies, right? Mainly Spark and PySpark, right? Then we will be, working with real-time projects, right? There will be a lot of case studies that we will be doing, right? And guys, each topic will be fully hands-on, equipped with real world industry experiences, meaning if I'm going to use Lambda, how in industry a data engineer is using Lambda functions. You will be going to do hands-on. You will be going to build the Lambda functions during the course itself, right? Not only that, you will be, going through all the interview questions as well that for a topic, typically in market, the interviewer asks on that topic itself. So everything going to be covered as part of the sessions, right? If I have to quickly show you the different tool sets that we are covering, right? Apart from this, let me quickly show you one slide. Sorry about that. I'm just looking for a particular slide where I have detailed out the services. Yeah. So if you look here, these are the different tool sets that we are going to cover as part of our sessions. So AWS will be used as our cloud provider, right? There's no doubt about that. For doing big data processing, for handling large scale data, we will be using Spark and PySpark, right? To run Spark and PySpark, we will be utilizing Databricks as our tool set, right? For data warehousing, data needs, we will be using Snowflakes, right? And for orchestration and everything, we will be using Airflow in general. So these are the different toolkits that you're gonna see as part of this course, right? That we have planned. All of these detailed structure, Ganesh will hand it out over to you. I don't want to take your time, just talk about what all topics we're gonna cover, because in general, I have talked about the high level things that we're gonna cover. But I just want to take 5 minutes more of yours to show you two basic pipelines that I have built, but one involves real-time streaming use case and one involved a batch processing, right? If you allow me, I'm gonna share these two pipelines that we have built, and I'll show you how these works today. Okay. So one pipeline that we have built is for data processing for real-time data, right? I'm gonna quickly draw a rough architecture so that you can understand how this has been built, and we can uh, show a quick demo of that, right? So to build a real-time pipeline, I'm using SQS, which is a AWS service, right? Need not to worry, everything will be covered in our sessions, right? We have Lambda functions, which is gonna process this data, and then we'll load this data to our database, which is DynamoDB, right? So everything will happen in real time, right? In less than a second itself, right? You will see this when I'll explain. This is one pipeline that we have for us. Second pipeline that we have is for batch data. So for batch data, I'm going to use Databricks predominantly. And Databricks, as we all know, in the back end, it uses the concept of Spark, big data, right? So we are going to use PySpark or Spark, right? So this underneath PySpark will run, and this is basically for large scale data processing or big data processing. So we have data coming in a file from a user, right? It can be anything. And this data is going to process by PySpark, and then finally we'll load this data back to a target, right? So these two are pipelines that I have planned today, considering the crunch of time that we have. Okay. Let me show the first one, the real-time data processing, right? Okay, this is the DB where I'm gonna load all the data. Let me delete all this data so that will show from the beginning. Okay, I'm gonna put some data, right? So the way this pipeline works is the real-time pipeline. We basically are providing the ID of a customer, the name of the customer, and the age. So we have added a very basic logic. If the age is less than 18, then it's gonna add a flag whether the customer is adult or not. If the age is less than 18, it will add a flag that the customer is not adult. And if the age is more than 18, then it will add a flag that customer is adult, right? Let me add a record. Let me do it, right? Let me do it with a adult scenario, right? Let me send this message, right? This message has been sent. This message is being picked up with this Lambda, right? We can quickly see the logs. It will take a while to open the logs, but in the meantime, the data has been loaded to the DB, right? Because everything happens in almost real time. Okay, so I see a log here, and this is just now the log came. The time is in UTC. If we look at the logs, it says the record has been successfully loaded, right? And in the logs, it printed the flag, right? Whether the customer is adult or not, it says true, right? It's adult. We see the same thing in our DB. Let's run this query and see. If you look here, that's the record has been added. ID is this, age is this, the customer is adult customer, right? And the name is Alice, right? Let's do one more thing. Let's send one more record with a different name, with a different ID. Let's do this U017. Instead of this, let's send John. And let's this time sends an ID age of 16, which is less than 18 and should show the adult flag as false. Let me send this. The record has been sent. Let me quickly show in the DB. And if you look here, it just landed here, right? Everything happens almost in real time. As soon as I put the record in a streaming tool, it has been picked up and it is being loaded here. And if you look here, the flag has been added false. I'm not doing anything magic, right? All of this is happening with the help of this Lambda function. All the code is here, which is, doing all of these transformation, picking the data, loading it back to the target. So these kind of pipelines we have covered in our sessions, because as a data engineer, you will be working on real-time streaming. As a data engineer, you will be working on a batch as well, right? So this is one demo for streaming. Similarly, I have one more demo planned for a batch, right? So in this batch, what exactly we want to do is we have two data sets. One is sales data and one is a type of a customer, right? So I'm going to quickly show you. This is the sales data. It has customer ID, the product, the sales amount, and the date. And we have one more data set where it talks about the customer information, like whether the customer is a VIP or a regular customer. So with this data, we have to answer two questions, right? How much sales we are getting from VIP customer and how much sales we are getting from a regular customer, right? So this ETL code that is running here is basically built using PySpark, right? And this code will give me the overall sales coming from a regular customer and the sales coming from a VIP customer, right? So this is an example of a batch processing, which we are doing with the help of PySpark. And to run the PySpark, we are using our course Databricks PySpark will be explained in very detail, starting from basic understanding of architecture and it will go till the end-to-end hands-on projects, right? Now I'll take a quick pause here to see if there is any question coming in your mind.
So is there any prerequisite that Python should be aware before having this course?
Okay, so what we typically do, Pranay, is we do assessment of our batch. So in the previous batches, what we have is sometimes we have a batch who is already matured in SQL and Python. And all of you folks are working professionals, right? So you want to quickly get things, done, yeah, because you want to apply these learnings to projects that is going to come or already there, or maybe you want to switch it, right? Or you are in the process to switch to that technology. So if you already know SQL and Python, so we skip that portion. If the whole batch has this capability, this competency. So what we do at the start of each batch, we do a competency check, like meaning in our batch, how many folks are good with SQL, how many folks are good with Python. If they say they are fine, then we'll skip that process. We'll quickly jump into the data engineering session 101, right? But let's say when we see that the competency is not there within our batches, then what we do, then we groom them into SQL and Python so that they can quickly onboard to the data engineering session 101, right? But we make sure that whosoever is coming, right, irrespective if you have zero experience, if you have already 5 or 10 years of experience, you should be able to understand each topic from the beginning. And we should go in very, like we normally go in very deep so that we don't touch the topic from the surface and there is no depth into it, right? Because when you go in interviews, the interview is going to grill you on these topics. So we make sure that you know each and everything of that topic, right? So that you can easily excel in your career and in your interviews. That we make sure.
So suppose I am not well versed with the Python. So in order to groom, will you go in the same session, or else do you provide any other apart from this session?
Okay,
If that's
very
the
good.
case.
Very good question. So if let's say we have a batch and only 5 or 10% of the folks is needing Python. So what we do, we do separate sessions for them for Python, or if let's say SQL is required, right? So that we don't disturb the overall velocity of our program, right? But let's say the whole batch is needing, then we will start from there itself, right? I hope this answers your question, Pranay.
Yes.
Aditya, myself also, I don't have knowledge on Python. I have a basic SQL knowledge. So
Hmm.
you are going to provide the training for the parallel
Yes.
batches or in the
Yeah.
same batch? Yeah.
It's good. Let's say if there is only 1 or 2 folks, then what we do, we don't disturb the existing flow. But let's say the whole batch is needed, then definitely we'll start from SQL and Python.
Okay. Other thing, so after learning this course, how many years I can convert my experience? Because I am a DevOps engineer. I have almost 8 to 9 years experience to DevOps. I know the pipelines and all cloud. Yeah, AWS also I know. So can I convert my total out of 9? I can convert 3 to 4 years into data engineer after learning this.
Very good question, Rama. So it totally depends upon the candidate, right? So there are candidates who are very quick learner. They are able to understand the topics and they are able to articulate well when they go into the interviews, right? Because the end goal is you have to work on that technology, right? With that
Correct.
experience, right?
Yeah.
So if you are able to grasp well, if you are able to understand well, then there is no one stopping you. We have people in our course that were having 16, 17 years of experiences. They came, joined this course, and they are now, architect. They're doing the architects as well, right?
Oh,
And we
yeah.
have people who are freshers as well joining the same course, right? So what we don't distinguish between a fresher or a senior folk. We start from beginning to end, so that you know end to end, right? Now it's up to you how you perform in this domain.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
See, majorly our focus is concentration on this project also, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the
Yeah.
course, we'll do the end-to-end
Yeah.
project. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know the Snowflake as well as cloud. Overall, I know systems level. So would like to learn these data engineering parts so that I'll move to data engineering field. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Sure.
Aditya, Anuj this side. So, just I want to know, you mentioned step function and all those things. Are we planning to cover or to Airflow we are planning to cover?
Okay. Very good question. So for orchestration, there are various tools, right? Recently, AWS has launched AWS Batch for orchestration. We have Airflow, we have step functions, right? So as and when the course progresses, we touch on these topics, right? So that view, when you go to your data engineering work, you don't feel left out. Okay, I learned Airflow, but this project doesn't learn Airflow. So this project doesn't have Airflow, they have step function. How are we gonna survive? So what we do, we touch on a step function as well as the orchestration tool.
Just I'm seeing is Kafka is not included as a part.
Yeah,
Is it right?
Kafka we have not included because we have included Kinesis, which is also a AWS service, right? Since this course is built on top of AWS services. So Kinesis is an AWS service, which is an alternative to Kafka. So if you know Kinesis, you in general know Kafka.
Kinesis is a streaming process,
Yes.
but Kafka is providing both streaming and producer consumption.
Yep. So yeah,
What?
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. So if you see, Kinesis has three solutions in it. One is Kinesis Stream. The second one is Kinesis Firehose, and the third one is Kinesis Analytics. So if you combine all three, it's exactly an equivalent to what Kafka offers. And we cover all three.
But we are going in a depth also, is it right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
what I felt, this is a duration is 40 hours. Is it right? And daily 1 hour class most. Is
Yeah.
it my understanding correct?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so I'm not sure. I think, but that's a good thing. And another part, sometime we will not join. I can't join the class also. I'm not sure what is the timing. Still, I'm discussing with Ganesh. So what is the provision if I miss the class?
So all the sessions are recorded. You can watch the recording, and these recording will be available for you, till the lifetime. So there is no expiry on top of it.
Where can I get that?
So that you can facilitate with Ganesh. He will share you.
Yeah.
I'll check it.
I'll be creating Google Drive. So through Google Drive, I'll be sharing the recording videos.
Okay. Any notes also we are providing, like for a reference if you go for an
Yes.
interview?
Yes. So what we do, whatever codes we are gonna practice, I'm gonna share you my GitHub personal repo where all the codes are available over there so that you can see as the course progresses. I'm gonna give you assessments so that you can practice, right? And you can discuss on top of that, right? It's not like I'm gonna teach you. All of the session is going to be interactive. All my sessions in the past are interactive. What we do, we interact, right? We learn from you, you learn from me. That's how the course progresses, right? So that it becomes more interesting and it's not monotonous in nature. Today is a time crunch situation for me. That's why I kept this session a quick monotonous kind of thing, monologue. But when we go in our real sessions, these are more interactive in nature, right? So
Yeah, makes sense.
so, and there is second thing that you brought up, 40 hours. So there is no compulsion for us for 40 hours. So we give an estimate, right? So it depends upon how the overall batch progresses. If we see that the batch is a little advanced, then we normally finish in 35 hours as well, right? But if we see the batch is lagging, then we can extend this time as well. So I'm not in a hurry to finish this course, right? My passion is to, teach whatever I know, right? That's what drives me, right? So it's not only just to finish my courses, it's all about I can make sure that you know what I know and you excel in your career and you do well in your career. So that's the only ambition I have. That drives me for these courses. And I don't know, Ganesh may have the right count. I have given more than 10, even more than that, batches in this year itself. And what we make sure that we never repeat code, we never repeat an example. We always make sure that we come up with new things, right? We make sure that we are up to date with what exactly happening in the industry, right? So that you don't feel left out. And if you look, we have recently added Snowflake. We have recently added Airflow in this course. If you came 6 months back to us, you may not see Snowflake in this course. You may not see Airflow in this course. We have recently added because we see there is a demand coming in from industries, and there are actual importance of learning these tool sets. That's why we have added these things. So this course evolve every 2 months, 3 months, depending upon how things are there in the market, so that you are always up to the speed with the current market needs.
So means if this course will evolve, so we need to re-enroll or something, we will get notification, you can refer this.
Yeah, so we can give you video recordings for those topics, right? Because in essence, everything will not gonna change, right? Cloud will be there, AWS is going to say, right? If newer tech stack is added, then that thing we can be prompted, right? And what we do is, that Ganesh will facilitate. he will create a WhatsApp community, and that WhatsApp community again is, for your lifetime. Even after you're done with the course, you can reach out on the community, right? If there are new referrals, we share those things as well. If you have doubts, you can reach out on that as well. So it's not like that 40 days are over and that's it, right?
Yeah, and see, I saw closely what Ganesh shared me in the curriculum. So there is a infra cost and all those things. So we need to create our account, or there is a provision provided by the.
Normally, earlier we had this provision, we provided the account, but what happened that people started, using the services which was not there in the curriculum and which cost lots of money, and that's which in turns create thousands of dollars of bill. So not what we are doing is we are enabling the user itself to build their account, and what we make sure that they don't generate a bill. And whenever if there are service that we are discussing that main Kara bill, we prompt that person that this service is gonna charge you this much, right? 50 cents or $1. If you want to practices with your own discretion. So that's now what we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like one thing, if we are going for a data engineering world, so there is a concept of CDC also, is it right? Because
Yeah, correct.
are we? I couldn't see those things.
Data
How many?
warehousing concept, we will cover this part. When we reach for the data warehousing concept, right? If you see Snowflake, I haven't bloated it up, right? If you see, I'll share the PPT as well. So in there, we have mentioned it. But when we reach Snowflake over there, when we reach data warehousing as a topic, we'll explain what is star schema, what is Snowflake schema, what is, SCD type 1, what is SCD type 2, right? And in this basically covers your CDC as well.
But Redshift or Snowflake competitor to each other, is it right?
Correct. So that's why what we have now provisioned is we are covering one service, either Redshift, either Snowflake. So if you know Redshift, you know the basics of data warehousing as well. So what we realized that Snowflake is gaining more popularity in the market. So people are moving from Redshift to Snowflake. So that's why we have switched to Snowflake now. But if you want, you can watch the Redshift videos as well. If let's say you are lagging in Redshift.
No, actually, we are using Redshift currently.
Okay.
But I have a plan to move to Snowflakes, but there is a Snowflakes also have some trade-offs. Means both have a trade-offs.
Yeah.
So
Agree.
that's a thing. But I'm little confused here. We are covering Redshift or Snowflake?
Majorly Snowflake, majorly like because Snowflake is a vast topic compared to Redshift.
Yes.
So majorly Snowflake.
But if I want to gain knowledge, so how can I get knowledge on Redshift?
We have the sessions, we can share it with you. That's not
Okay,
a challenge.
I need to connect to Ganesh to get.
Yeah, that's possible.
We'll discuss everything, Anush, tomorrow.
That's sure. So Snowflake, actually there is a two-liner is there. What are we covering? Because Snowflake run with the so many tools internally also.
Whatever is required for data engineers. Whatever. So if I'm gonna list, we're gonna cover stages, right? Creating data warehousing, creating databases, schemas, tables, so on and so forth. That's 101, that right? But advanced thing that is Snowflake provides stages, right? Snow pipes, right? Clustering, right? So all of this we're gonna cover as part of Snowflake.
Thanks, Arun.
Okay, and yeah, please go ahead.
Like in this course, how many real-time projects we covered in this course?
So there are typically 2 real-time projects that we cover that is out there in the public, posted by AWS itself. We cannot use any company-specific project, right? Because of IP issues, right? That we all know. And hence I'm using the open source projects that is out there to cover. But these are very detailed and in-depth so that you can do well in your career as well.
Regarding Databricks, we have community edition that is fine for Databricks or else?
Yeah, community edition should be fine for us.
Aditya, last question. So, the coding part, how much we needed for this, like a Python and
Okay.
this one, PySpark?
So if we have basic as well, that will hold true because I explain all of the codes in our sessions, right? And my intent is not on a lot of heavy coding because that you can also learn on the fly, right? My intent is on
Mm.
cloud. My intent is on data engineering, right? How you do data
Ah,
engineering, how do you do cloud, right? And coding is just a byproduct of it.
yeah, because we know the basics. So if you
Yep.
provide some kind of what
Yep.
in the modules or some kind of data frames we are using, right?
Yeah.
PySpark and
Yep. Yep. That
that
I'll
yeah, yeah.
PySpark I'll cover end to end, right? End to end,
Okay,
starting from basics to end to end, because PySpark is a new technology, right? It's not very common. Like Python is common, SQL is very common.
correct.
Even is
Correct.
probably be knowing SQL, but PySpark is something that is not common across all of us. So PySpark I will be covering end to end. So we have all the demos, all the hands-on activity plans. I have notebooks that I'm gonna share with you so that you can also practice on your free time. Right, as I mentioned, we have assessments. We have everything well planned in these sessions.
Yeah, got it. Thanks, sir.
And how much programming or coding is required for a data engineer normally?
Um, Very good question, Raj. So there is no right or wrong answer. It depends upon the kind of projects that we are doing into. I have worked in projects where I'm purely using SQL for data engineering as well, and I have worked on projects where I'm using Python and PySpark as well. So there is no right or wrong answer, but if you know basics, you can go along, right, and you can build your competency on top of it, right? Again, I'll say even today I cannot say that I know everything because there's always a scope and room for growth, and I'm currently in the pursuit of that scope only. So I always fine tune myself with new and new things that comes on the way, right? So that's also applicable to all of you guys, right? So it doesn't mean that once we are done with this course that we are the champion. We always have to groom ourselves. We always have to polish our skills as we move along in our career.
Thanks. Yeah.
So sorry for that, but I don't have a very straightforward answer for this.
In this course we cover two projects, right? So we put it in the resume. That was helpful, right?
Yes, you can put in your resume, but the only thing you have to make sure that you have to align with your current company. For example, your current company works with healthcare, and if we have
Yeah.
a retail project, so you cannot do that, right? The interviewer will definitely, pick you up. So you have to align with whatever domain you are currently working into. That's the only thing you have to adjust.
Yeah. Like, may I know about real-time projects? Like you in this course, which type of projects we done? Like,
So
uh,
one I have is for retail, which basically I'm using Walmart retail data that is available out there in Kaggle. Again, it's an open source, so that's why I can name it publicly. So that open source data is available out there. I'm gonna use retail data coming from Walmart, and then I'm gonna build analytics on top of it. So to do the analytics, we're gonna, first of all perform the data engineering, and then later we'll do analytics. For that analytics, we're gonna use SQL and Snowflake combined. So this will be one project. There will be one more project that is on healthcare domain, right? I would not like to explain it at this point in time. Uh, it will take 5-10 more minutes, and I am really running out of time now. But we can explain you more in when we connect next time. Yes. I won't be, sharing the projects that is out there in the YouTube, right? A lot of, projects out there like Spotify data processing, so on and so forth. These are very basics. I'm not gonna cover those basics. You already have access to those. You can see those videos. Okay. Any last question? I can take one more question.
So anyone? Pranay, Raj, Ramkrishna, Shiva, Ashwant, Nikhil. Hitesh.
Uh, ca- can you provide any sample resume after this course? Like right now, I'm a fresher, right? Like 1 years of experience.
Yep.
I want to know.
Yep. So what we do, Yashwant, I didn't mention this. So, this is an add-on, right? It's not part of a course. We never promise this, but what we do is we do when the course finishes, a resume review of you guys, if you want, right? Because this is a personal information. Not all wants to share this. So if people are interested, what we do a resume review. We suggest, okay, you can modify this and that. Second thing is, if people are interested, we do mock interviews as well. Again, it's more of a personal thing. Some people are hesitant, hence we cannot force it. So if you guys are interested, we can plan it as well once the course finishes. These two things that we do.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Aditya.
Yep.
So Aditya, are we planning to cover any means touch base or something to if we are creating from scratch, how to architect and all those?
Yes, everything will be driven from with this mindset only. So you're not gonna just see Lambda. Okay, I'm not gonna share the definition of Lambda, how Lambda works, because you like most of the folks already know, or you can just Google it. So why is the point of coming in this course, right? What advantage you are getting? So we're gonna talk about industry experiences. Okay, why you are using Lambda? What is the need of it, right? Uh, if we are using Lambda, what problems we can face, right, in future, right? So if we have to build a good architect, what things we have to keep in our mind. So all of these things we're gonna keep in our curriculum so that you can apprised of these things and you can understand from the industry standpoints.
Yeah, because sometime what happen, I'm not sure because I'm not a word. First time looking for it. But it's like Lambda. Sometime what we do, we go for AWS do a Lambda, but directly from the repository. I mean, basic hygiene, how to maintain the code, like Databricks, we can write, but code is evolve during the durations also. Is it? So
Correct.
how life cycle will go? I think hope so. We are planning to do that.
Yep,
also.
yep. Yeah, that is.
Thanks, Aditya.
Yep. Guys, I'm really running out of time now. If you have any question, you can reach out to Ganesh and we can discuss further over the chat, or maybe we can plan anything else. Thank you so much for attending this and thanks for being so vocal with your question. I really like this enthusiasm and I would love to see this enthusiasm in the coming days as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aditya. Thanks for your time.
Thanks.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining. And I'll call you tomorrow one by one. We'll discuss about everything, about the timings and everything, the batch. And I'll be creating a WhatsApp group. I'll invite you all. You can join the WhatsApp group using the link. And from Wednesday, we can start. So before that, I'll check with everyone individually. Like I have to check their availability. Like we have two slots. One is in the morning, one is in the evening. So, but we are planning for the morning only because so that we can complete the classes and we can go for offices. Morning we have a batch timing at 7:30 to 8:30. Evening sometimes you may be busy with the like work. Some not every day. Like it will be sometimes like you may be busy with the production issues. So instead of that, like, I'm planning for in the morning. So I'll call you one by one. Like tomorrow we can have a call and discuss. Then I'll be creating WhatsApp group from Wednesday we can start. And you will be getting everything: recording video, sample resumes, and interview questions, and the sample code assignment, and even any kind of like after completion of each and every topic, you will be getting like some kind of like task as well for each and every topic. So and the code also will be shared, and we can have a daily classes through Skype. Initially, 1 or 2 classes will be like Zoom. From after like the 2 or 3 classes will be Skype. So you don't need to wait for my permission or else my upload from the Google Drive. You can directly download the videos from the Skype itself. There is an option to record the videos and to share the screen, everything we have. You can directly download from there. You don't have to wait for my upload to Google Drive. But anyways, you will be getting each and every video through Google Drive. And I'll be creating WhatsApp group. So this WhatsApp group will be remain open even after course completion. Even if you have any questions, even after course completion also, yes, definitely it's going to be like open. It will be active, and whenever you have a questions, you can ask us. And about number of hours, he said like 40 hours, but I don't think it takes like 40 hours to complete, because right now like evening on batches going on. For them, we are done like almost 45 sessions. Still like 2 more sessions are pending. That means like 47 sessions we are taking. So it all depending on like you, how right, like different people, their level of explanation is different. So based on your questions, based on your explanation, and based on your need, so the number of hours, days will be vary. And we are not just depending on number of days or number of hours perspective. This completely like a AWS data engineer course you're going for. So as part of the course, whatever the days it takes, we definitely like going to take each and every topic. Any questions for me?
So any doubt session going to happen? Because this is a 1 hour, I think, course content is planning to follow.
Yes, you can ask the questions while starting the class or else while ending the class. And even if you have any questions, you can put it in the WhatsApp group. So any of the person, like whatever, Mr. Aditya or else any of your batchmates, they're going to like when give you a response. Whenever you have questions, you can put it in the WhatsApp group. Definitely there will be a doubt session. So doubt clearing session. So whenever you have any question, you can definitely ask before the class or while doing the class also, even after the class also. So any questions, Itish, Nikhil, Pranay, Ramakrishna, and Shiva, Yashwant for me?
So, no, Ganesh.
Okay. If you don't have question, then we can wind up for now. And good night. See you on Wednesday. And see you tomorrow. Yeah, I'll call you tomorrow one by one. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Thanks.